And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the opening week of the Upsurge Contenders League here for fall 2020. My name is Orbital. I'm coming in from space, and I picked up a random minion caster. How are you doing today, my man?
Doing great and super excited for this beginning here of the Upsurge Contenders League. Super hyped between both these teams here.
Yeah, we got mAAd City and Miami University opening this split up. And again, all these teams are running between the Grandmaster and Diamond levels. So expect some awesome play, expect some crazy plays. And I'm hoping we have a pretty fire series on our hands here. But again, these guys, I think these are pretty much two brand new teams coming into this league.
Yeah, I believe both of them under their org names are fairly new. Mad City stating that they've started since about June of this year. They have some players who've been around in the scene for quite a while, most notably previously from Dramatic and Supernova. So the players aren't new, but the org is fairly new. And on the other side, you've got Miami University. I mean, the university's been around a long time, but this particular team, this particular iteration has been together for about a year. And there are quite a few actually familiar names on it as well from production and casting. So very excited to look at Miami University here.
Yep. And so I am excited. You are excited. We'll be getting in very shortly to the champion select here for game number one. And, with everything that's been going on and all the changes with Worlds coming up literally in a few hours, I believe it's going to be fun. But we got to go ahead and talk a little bit about the meta, right? The meta has definitely shifted over the last couple patches. Most recently, we've had a lot of nerfs headed in certain directions. And I think one of the biggest ones that I really wanted to point out was the Senna nerf, specifically to her ghoul drop rate.
Yeah, so Riot, I mean, they claim that they don't want to make any big changes before Worlds, but they always end up making these sort of meta shifting changes right before Worlds. Senna is a huge one here. They've basically halved the soul drop rate here for Senna, and that's absolutely huge for ADC Senna. Despite that, though, I'm still seeing a lot of Senna picks here in the Grandmaster Diamond challenger levels here. So teams seem to still prefer that. And both the ADCs tonight, actually, both of them do play a fair bit of Senna. So I'm very
Mhm.
interested to see if Senna does show up again tonight or not.
Yeah, and almost to counteract that, right? We've seen almost a small percentage drop of Caitlyn players as well. We started to see that shift in that Ashe and Caitlyn matchup. A lot more people favoring the Ashe, favoring the utility that she brings, and also seeing a lot of those, the Jin coming out of the woodworks. I know Sivir just got buffed in this patch as well. So, do you think we'll see a heavy swing away from the Ashe Caitlyn matchup or Ashe Caitlyn Senna, or do you think it's still going to be kind of that trifecta of the three?
I mean, for sure, I think Caitlyn will probably see a reduction in her play rate. We already are starting to see that a little bit, as you mentioned. She's still strong. Her range is still there, but that nerf to her AD and her attack speed growth do hurt her late game quite a bit. I don't know if we'll see Ashe drop out, though. I feel like Ashe has really found her stride here, and Ashe hasn't really been nerfed that hard. The utility she brings is just so strong. So I think we'll continue to see Ashe. Caitlyn, I think, will fall a little bit, and the question is just which ADCs will come up in their place. Sivir, the buff to her, I mean, that is a useful buff, but at the same time, her range is so short in the current meta, it's a little risky. We have seen a couple of teams attempt to use her, but they have been struggling to keep her alive in fights. Jin as well, an interesting, personally, I didn't expect Jin to become so prevalent, but the
Mhm.
damage he puts out as well as the safety he has in lane has been absolutely massive. I think Jin definitely, we could see him come back. And personally, I think actually Ezreal might start making a bit of a comeback potentially as well.
Yeah, that would be kind of insane to see Ezreal of all the champions coming back. We equate him with the passive laning phase, whereas we are starting to see a lot heavier matchups go through. The early game push, right? And that's also seen throughout the other lanes. We've seen currently there is a buff towards that mid lane Aurelia or top lane Aurelia, wherever you want to take it. I got a huge buff on her Vanguard's edge. And not only that, the nerfs going out to some of the other mid lane and top lane champions. I mean, do you think we'll see an influx of brand new mid lane champions, or do you still think, like, even though they nerfed Akali, even though they nerfed TF, technically, whatever you want to call five move speed off of your character, do you think we're going to see a shift there, or what are you looking at?
I actually really like what they've done with the mid lane because I do think the nerfs there are actually really tiny nerfs that make them less overpowering, but they're still completely viable. So what I think we're going to see in the mid lane is sort of a branching out in terms of what's available in the current meta. So like you said, I think Irelia making a comeback, definitely a possibility there. I don't think they'll crowd out picks such as the Twisted Fate, as the Syndra as well, which is a very safe pick. Lucian as well did get a little bit of a nerf, but I think we might still see him flexed into the mid and the top as well. So I think more that we'll just see basically what we've already seen, plus a couple of extras now is what I'm seeing. And in fact, Korea's been seeing an influx of Kled mid as well. So who knows? Maybe we'll get that.
Man, I hope we get Kled mid. I would love to see the general striding into battle and knocking down some mage champions in the mid lane. It's painful. It hurts, but it's so meta right now. We are into the pick and ban phase with mAAd City on blue side and Miami University on the red side for here in game number 1. And already we see 2 high priority champions, Irelia, the recently buffed Irelia, taken off the table, and Evelynn as well. Lilia, so mid and jungle heavily being targeted here.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the Irelia, unfortunately, we won't get to see it. We were just talking about the buffs to it, going top, going mid. Evelynn ban, I actually really like that ban because the jungler of mAAd City, that string of letters, I can't pronounce it, previously known as Flower Kitty, that's what I'm going to call them for this entire series, has been spamming Evelynn in solo queue. And Evelynn is actually really strong right now. That 2-item power spike with the death cap right now, just nuking any squishy off the map. So I love the fact they've taken that off the map as well. And Set, actually somebody we didn't talk about, did get a little bit nerfed. I mean, modified, shall we say. But he's still so prevalent in Ashe and Caitlyn ban. I love seeing that because now there's that ADC pool. Let's see what comes out and whether Senna is going to make an appearance here as an ADC.
I mean, you got to drop down the tiers, and this is a big one in the Pantheon support. We knew it was coming, right? We saw it in scrims. We saw it played in some playoff games before. I mean, can we expect any less from a team named mAAd City?
No, and mAAd City support here, another string of letters. Warrior Mitch is their support. Warrior Mitch has been also practicing Pantheon support a lot in solo queue. It's been sweeping the globe, actually. Nobody saw it in all the regional playoffs, and all of a sudden, Pantheon just kind of makes it at the last second, and it becomes so meta. But Shen Hecarim coming up from Miami University, it's a really solid draft, and as we've seen, Shen can be flexed around. It can be support. It can be top. It can even go jungle, and Hecarim, we've seen top as well. I do expect this to be a top Shen and a top or support Shen and a jungle Hecarim, but I mean, just the fact they can flex it around, I like seeing that already.
Yeah, and I mean, all you really need at that point is a Zillion to round it out. Most annoying composition I think you could ever see with a Hecarim on your team, right? Just the overbearing dives constantly. So we'll see if they run it, but again, very solid, like you said. Karthus being locked in, though, recent changes making him a little bit more viable, but he, I believe, also just got a nerf in his armor and health pool, so not sure how he's going to fare in the jungle.
Yeah, and this is an interesting decision because not only is it about the nerfs and the buffs about Karthus in the jungle specifically, but the other issue with Karthus is also if that is a jungle Karthus, and most likely that's where it's going to be because Flower Kitty has been playing it in the jungle a lot, and I'm not sure Mark Boots plays it in the mid lane, but it also signals that you're going to have a very passive initial phase with that Karthus. He's not as strong in the early game as Hecarim or Graves or Nidalee, which we've been seeing dominate the meta currently. So mAAd City going to be a bit on the back foot here in terms of jungle pressure into lanes early.
Yeah, going to be locking in some nice picks. And again, the Galio taken away. You don't want to allow that defensive posturing to be available, especially when you have such a heavy dive composition coming out here. So rightful ban away. And we do have what looks to be a very staggered first pick phase. So going to be seeing some fun champions banned away. Yuumi being taken off the table. So no Ezreal, Yuumi, the OG annoying lane.
Yeah, and I mean, that Ezreal-Yuumi combination, like I said, Ezreal is actually making a little bit of a comeback. He was very strong back in that Aphelios meta. He fell out because, as you said, he's weak early, right? You pick an Ezreal-Yuumi, you know that your bot lane's not going to do anything in the early game. But Miami University, I think they're actually okay with the Ezreal at this point. They've got the Shen, they've got the Hecarim. So they've got mid-game and early game, a little bit of each sort of picked out here, and depending on what they pick for, say, their, I believe will be the support mid lane most likely, depending on what they pick for that, they can swing early game, mid game, late game. So I think it's pretty safe. And also, when you see the Karthus coming up from mAAd City, they've got late game skilling. So Ezreal, I think, a fairly safe pick, and they are starting to pinch that misfortune away from mAAd City as well. They don't want AoE combo.
Yeah, and after the Braum, immediately dropping to the Taric. So the glittering duo in the bottom lane, I think, is what we're gonna see. And uh, i- is that a Heimerdinger in the bot lane?
It could potentially be. I mean, neither Mark Boots nor Digital Stain play a ton of Heimer, so most likely,
Okay.
yeah, there we go. They're just trolling at this point. And if they, okay, so they are going for that Sivir. Like you mentioned, Sivir did get buffed right now, and the ultimate, another utility spell as well. So players who like Ashe often like the Sivir as well, because that's your just go button, right? You press R, your whole team knows to engage, and they've got a composition for it. Pantheon, Camille, and Karthus. You lock people down that Hextech ultimatum, and they're suddenly sitting in that defile from Karthus. There's no running from that, so they're definitely all inning on that, in that all in.
Yeah, double down as much as you want, and you're good. Final rounding out, Orianna. You know, very standard, very safe, but immediately the Akali was left open. They get a favorable matchup, and Miami University definitely take it.
Yep, 100%. We've seen the Akali into Orianna as a counter plenty of times here. That being said, Mad City's composition, I really, really like it right now. I mean, the Hextech ultimatum is going to be absolutely key for them because it locks you down for that command shockwave, for that defile, for potentially a grand skyfall as well. And Sivir just able to throw her boomerangs and bounce it around on everybody, just doing a ton of damage as well. So Mad City's composition, you know exactly what they want to do. Miami University, a bit more flexible, a bit more sort of broad here. They've got themselves a great mid game with that Shen, with the Akali as well, who just needs a bit of time to skill up. Hecarim can dominate the early game. He can definitely run over a Karthus, so that's really solid. The Taric, also a little bit of a direct counter to Karthus here, because when Karthus just uses the Requiem, you go ahead and use that Cosmic Radiance. You time it right, you cancel and just nullify that Requiem from Karthus as well. So Miami University dropping a lot for sort of strength and just general flexibility here.
Yeah, such a very nice draft coming out of both sides. And as we do get into the actual draft, we get to see where some of these champions go. I think pretty obviously we are seeing, you know, the Camille on the top side with the Karthus in the jungle. But I do want to get your opinion here on this bottom lane specifically, right? I want to kind of hone in a little bit on it because Tark is one that we definitely seen kind of pop out and be played in different areas, and we've seen waning success, right? We like to see it with a champion that likes to kind of all in engage, utilize the Cosmic Radiance. You said Ezreal's coming up and starting to become another meta champion, but do you think this is the matchup to run with it, or do you think there's going to be some problems and it's more of a passive laning phase and made for mid to late?
I think honestly, the Taric pick is more picked for the teamfight utility as well as the ability to counter the Requiem coming out of Karthus here. I don't think Miami University is going to win that bot lane. I mean, Sivir is one of the strongest pushers, and Pantheon has shown himself to be an extremely potent early game support as well. So with the Sivir, with the Pantheon, you aren't winning that bot lane. And I think Ezreal, Taric, they're just playing to survive the lane, maybe send Taric to roam out a little bit, influence the other lanes, maybe help out Hecarim, but I don't think they're going to win in isolation. The key here, though, is going to be the jungles as well, because mAAd, Big D on that Hecarim here can just come in from behind and then engage onto the Pantheon Sivir. 3v2, granted 2v2, you don't win that, but 3v2, you certainly can. And I don't think Flower Kitty is going to be as mobile and going to be there and at the same time. So it's going to come down to a lot about pathing and where the junglers decide to gank and or counter gank.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also depends, you know, we've seen two different styles of Hecarim, right? We see the phase rush Hecarim, who is going for those dives, and then the conqueror Hecarim, who wants to sit in the fights, be that tank soaker, and be able to, you know, help out, maybe have the Shen backing him as well. With the lineup that we have, do you think we'll see the diving Hecarim, or do you think we'll see the more front to back, you know, play smart, play to help the lanes, and don't look for those kills?
I mean, compositionally, you don't have to be that diving Hecarim. You just want to sort of counter and make sure all your lanes go even. But knowing mAAd, Big D, we're probably going to see the diving Hecarim because he's an aggressive player. He sees a kill, he sees potential for a kill. He's going to just take that chance. No hesitation there.
That's a fair point. I mean, it's a Hecarim. It's a Hecarim. You can get away with it with a Sin United on the back end. I think there is no problem there. Now, as we do get down and winding down into the last few seconds of spectator delay, I do want to say thank you to all that are watching once again. final thoughts here from you, Random. Looking at these compositions back and forth, and especially for a game number one where you're testing out your opponents, right? We have two fairly meta compositions here. Do you see either one having easier to execute win conditions, or do you think they're both fairly set and locked in a skill dependent follow-up throughout the game?
A little bit of both for sure. I think it is definitely very, very skill dependent. And I think it's a clash of sort of metas right now. Miami University, the conservative meta that we've come to know and recognize. Mad City with that newer, more aggressive meta, taking advantage of all sort of the buffs that's been coming through, the way the meta has shifted. So it will be a bit of a skill matchup as well as a clash of ideologies. I do think Mad City has the easier execution, though. They just want to go in. Everybody knows what they need to do, and it's sort of a very easy united mentality where you just need to go together. Miami University, a lot of moving parts here. IBN needs to basically try and survive on his own. Troy One's going to want to go in. Cleve is trying to decide who he's going to keep alive. Milamo Big D going in, and Lucent has to decide who is he going to out? Is he going in or is he going out to defend? So a lot of moving parts in Miami University. So it's going to be harder for them to execute. But I mean, like I said, skill matchup at the end of the day.
All right, well, there you go. Thoughts coming out of the analytical desk. We are excited to see if the teams can pull it off here in game number one. Whoever wins game number one will have the momentum to possibly take it in a 2-0, but we will have to wait and see. We will be going to a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere as we do have a word from our sponsors before we get into game. And I'm very sorry. I misread that. I'm so sorry. We do have an ad read, actually. As we are taking a look, we will be talking about Kono Keyboard as if you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need to find a new keyboard, check out the Hex Gears X1 RGB low-profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. You can use the discount code UpsurgeGG for 7% off your first order. And for more information, go ahead and head over to kono.store. With that, we will be going to a very short break as we do get into game number one between Mad City and Miami University.
Ages and I've no patience, so won't you please
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we do get underway for the first game of the series. We do have Mad City once again on the blue side with Miami University on the red side. We do not worry about that DC as we have we are, preserving competitive integrity. So we had the pause, had to get through that. So thank you so much for being patient as we are out onto the rift with what looks to be an extremely standard 5-point start.
Yeah, nobody really looking for that invade. And honestly, I don't think either side really wants to on the blue side here for the side of Mad City. They don't have the best, they don't really have great level 1 CC. And on the other side for Miami University, sure, you've got the stun from Cleave on that Taric there, but you don't have enough damage to follow up. So just standard starts. Both teams need a bit of time here to sort of skill up into the point where they can become threats. So a bit of a passive start from both sides. And I am expecting to see Miami University be the one to make the early moves with their Hecarim here.
Yeah, that would definitely be the hope. We do see a standard, it looks like topside start from both junglers. Now the question is, will Hecarim be doing a full clear or be aiming to double or try and triple buff Warrior Kitty, I believe here? Sorry, not Warrior Kitty. Flower Kitty, that's what I was thinking of. And I'm super interested to see if they can pull it off. But again, it's I think it's a slow start from Karthus.
Yeah, and it's going to be so slow, it's just going to freeze everything up here as we find ourselves in another pause here. And I believe it is looking like it is a technical issue from the side of Mad City's support warrior Mitch there, that Pantheon having some mouse issues. So hopefully they manage to get that fixed shortly here.
Yep, gotta love having some issues. And again, it wouldn't be any type of broadcast without one. We love to see it. We also hate to see it, but that does give us a chance to kind of double check and keep track of it. So walk me through this, because again, Karthus jungle with the reduced armor, is his pace going to be slowed down? Do you think we'll see an early recall from him? And do you think that will give Hecarim a little bit of a chance to do some invades, or what do you think is going to happen here in the early stages?
So with the Karthus here, with the jungle Karthus, where he's probably just going to keep on focusing on farming here. We're probably not going to see any ganks till at least level 3, level 4. And even then, he's more effective at counter ganking more than actually forcing his own gank. He doesn't have a ton of CS from any of his lanes either. So a bit difficult for the side of Flower Kitty to really look for any ganks early. Now, in terms of when he wants to back, if you actually space it right as Karthus, you actually have a fairly safe and quick clear as well, because of the way those Skittles work there. The lay waste doubling the damage on single targets means that you can actually clear your objectives fairly well. And the fact that you can kite while you do it is absolutely great. So likely we're just going to see absolute focus on farming here from the side of Mad City's Flower Kitty. Milamo Big D, on the other hand, is where we're going to have to see. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but he's going to be sort of the focus of action here in the early game. Whether he decides to farm, which Hecarim we know can farm extremely effectively if he just focuses on full clearing, or he can look for the invade, or he can look for the gank. So he's got all the options in the world in the early game right now, and we'll continue to have that till about level 6 here when that Requiem becomes available, and that's suddenly when it becomes really scary, because he can just nail things out of the sky. You don't see the Karthus. All you see is that pillar coming down. Next thing you know, you're dead.
Yeah, and I mean, not only that, waiting till level 6, I think that's, very apt to point out, because look on the other side of the map as well. Miami University went triple Doran Shields. This is a squad that, just like Karthus, is looking to wait towards that mid to late game power.
Yeah, so it's an interesting choice here from both teams, that it seems to be almost a bit of like a handshake to start the game off, that we're not going to see that early aggression, the early action that we've been used to seeing here in the current meta. Instead, we're going to see a bit of a farm fest in the early game there. And a lot of that Doran Shield also, I mean, it's standard on the Shen, it's standard on the Akali, and topside, a little bit of action.
Yep. Ooh. Big trades back and forth. Both of the top laners saying, all right, level 2, let's duke it out. All right, we're now both very low.
Yeah, I mean, not the standard sort of tank wet noodle fight here. I mean, with that Camille, there certainly is kill pressure. Impaled can just all in anytime he feels like he's got the potential. Both of them running Grasp of the Undying, so probably a bit more burst trading than the sustained fights that you might see from, say, I'm trying to think who goes top with Conquer right now, like a Renekton or something, right? So quick burst. So we might see somebody dying in the top lane, and it would be a fast thing if that happens.
Yeah, I actually, this is gonna get me a lot of flack. I think Renekton's run press the attack. I'm not sure. Now I'm super curious. Now you got me curious about that too. Now I got to go talk to some people. It's like, what do they run top lane? But I definitely agree. Both Grass and the Undying is somewhat non-standard, but we'll definitely have to wait and see how that one plays out. Top lane already, we see have burned a lot of the health potions. It's going to be pretty much head on head as Hecarim is looking towards that top side to get the first gank of the game.
Yeah, and depending on how this works out, that ward that got placed by Impaled might not actually save him, because Hecarim charging at full speed there can just completely bypass that ward. So that ward will be a bit of an early warning, but insufficient, and now he has to be careful. Milamo going up.
Yeah, big collapse coming down here as he is going to pop the ghost. He realizes he's getting collapsed on, charges up to the top side, and is able to get away, but loses out on the Skettles. So definitely feels bad as we do see Flower Kitty getting an advantage, having stolen away one camp and, working his way through the lanes.
Yeah, and he had to back out there because, I mean, we do see Warrior Mitch coming up from the bot lane, and they might put... I don't think this would be a good idea for a dive. The wave isn't set right for it, but you can see Warrior Mitch able to just roam out, and that leaves Digital Stain alone in that bot lane with absolutely zero punishment because he's up against an Ezreal Taric, IBN, and Cleave. Neither of them can really punish, so you're getting free roams out from that support pantheon.
Yeah, definitely having a fun time trying to move around the map, get that advantage down. But we've also seen recently, roam's not always the best choice. We've seen some laners, especially top lane. I think whenever their laner roams or teleports in, they get massive level advantages. So, Pantheon, one of the few that you kind of want the levels in, get the damage and, get the stuns out. So we'll see if that harms him or helps him in that long run. But a very nice wall slows down Mayamo, and he does not complete the gank. Bot lane now in trouble. IB Gen gonna take a little bit of a chunk as the stun comes out from Taric, and the lanes go back to neutral.
And to a certain extent, there's very little kill pressure here for Miami University in that bot lane there, because it's going to be nigh impossible to land the stun onto Digital Stain. He can just spell shield that. The animation for that stun coming out of Taric is so long there that you can always time it such that you can't pop the spell shield effectively. So right now, Mad City's bot lane just has all the freedom in the world. And Miyamo has not, unfortunately, been able to make an impact. You can see he's been trying. He looked top, he looked mid, but right now, Flower Kitty's just been playing that so well, always being in position to make sure that Miyamo is not comfortable going for those ganks.
Yeah, and you don't really realize it, but that Karthus pick is definitely going to be a huge stalling force in a lot of these fights. The Wall of Pain reducing movement speed by 40%. That drops Hecarim's damage, especially going through the wall if he has his ultimate up, right? So definitely want to see how that one works. Shield goes up by Warrior Mitch, blocks a lot of damage. Is he gonna die? Yeah. Oh, this might be very, very dangerous as Dragon has been started up. I think he might actually fall here. One more attack is there. No, his team.
Okay,
it looks like this is worth. It looks like this is worth, though. He's going for it.
It is. And this is one of those things where I have a little bit of mixed feelings about it, because it actually might have been an intentional call there. Karthus can actually burst down Dragon solo really quickly early because of his undead form. As long as he's got 1% tank it up so that the Dragon doesn't reset, he can pretty much do that. So I suspect that was an intentional call to just die so that he gets the mana to take that. It's an execute, and honestly, he's far ahead enough in the jungle with the speed of his clearing that it's not the worst thing to do there. That being said, it will slow down his level 6, so a bit of a trade-off, but Ocean Drake is just so strong. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the CS differentials, right? He was up quite a bit of CS, and now it's just evening you out, right? Like, he stole away 1 or 2 camps. He's very happy about the current situation. Now we see a jump on the top side as we do see the Hextech ultimate being thrown down, and Flower Kitty just jumps right towards that top side. That's going to be a flash out. Lucent is going to fall for first blood, and that is going to be a very large chunk of change going over to Kitty's pockets.
Yeah, and not only is it a huge chunk of change, it's also level 6 that Requiem is now unlocked. And one thing we kind of didn't touch on the side of mAAd City is their global pressure here. They have the Grand Starfall coming out from Warrior Mitch now, as well as the Requiem from Flower Kitty. So no lane is safe. There are double globals which can show up at any time now. And yes, you've got the Stand United from Lucent to at least match the Grand Starfall there, but I mean, it's still going to be kind of iffy to start any fight. Normally, you want to focus down the global. When there's two globals, it's going to be hard to focus both.
Yeah, just, got to keep track of that. And really, with the advantage, with the proactivity, it's going to be hard, as you stated, for mAAd to really find pockets to get those ganks off, as he did go that phase rush, meaning he wants to be proactive. He wants to be on the attacking side because he doesn't have that sustain that Conqueror usually gives, right? So going to be a little bit problematic. In mid lane, Mark Boots completely crushing. I wouldn't say completely crushing. That is a very strong term, as the CS is pretty much the same. But winning on a lot of these trades and still hasn't even used his teleport. So having that teleport advantage in that mid lane, very strong move for him.
For sure. And the benefit for Troy at least here is that he's traded his life for Mark Boots' mana here. You can see that Mark Boots about half mana, Troy about half health here. Troy is taking a lot of damage. Has to be careful though.
Ooh, yep, nice little shockwave under the tower, but the Shroud is down. And we also see the Requiem going down, so this might be a kill onto Troy. No, barely able to survive, but now a fight in that top side means that Impaled gets caught out in a lane gank, and that is going to be a nice little pickup, as that's going to be Warrior Mitch trying to chase it off. Back goes the Shroud, stun for stun, flash for flash, kills go over to the Pantheon, the roaming Pantheon, collecting a little bit of gold.
And this is what you want to see out of a support Pantheon. He needs kills, and immediately after that kill, he's using the Grand Starfall to get to mid lane. I'm not sure that one was the optimal use of the Starfall, but hey, it worked, and bot side.
Yep, and now Cleave getting chunked out right at 940 as a Defile lands on both of them. And again, bot lane, this is the pressure of mAAd City being applied around the map. Now Warrior Mitch looking for the tower read. I remember only level 5 on Clave. There's the level 6, and immediately they pull off. They realize the Cosmic Radiance is there. Instead, they say Mark Boots come down and help. Not sure if it's fully worth, but they do get 2 plates, potentially 3 here, and extend their gold lead to 1.5.
Yeah, I think the teleport from Mark Boots was a little over ambitious there. Probably the call coming down to get the engage. Doesn't pan out, but it's not too bad. At least they get a bunch of plates there, and Mark Boots doesn't miss out too much into the mid wave. Will come back in time to catch the majority of that wave. The more important loss there is the control on the Herald. So mAAd instantly going over to Herald, trying to make up for this lack of pressure early. So the fact that they didn't get bot lane first turret means that now Miami University have the potential to find the first start here with the help of Shelly.
Yeah, they definitely need it. But again, you're working through 4 to 5 plates on every single tower. Shelly can only take down about 2 to 2.5, and that feels bad right there. You want to be able to get the first tower with that Rift Shield. You want to be able to pressure more than just 2 plates, which is what, an extra 320 gold. It doesn't feel worth a lot of the time. So as you said, maybe some pressure, but definitely not game breaking here.
Yeah, definitely not. They have to convert that pressure on the Herald to something. If not, all the plates they gave up basically are, like you said, going to come back and bite them. That being said, we are seeing Inferno coming up in about 15 seconds. All ultimates now unlocked here. Miami University is a bit on the back foot in terms of levels and in terms of items. So for the side of mAAd City, they could just look to punish, use the Dragon Snowball. They already got themselves the first Drake, and Ocean Inferno is the single most potent first 2 Drake composition.
Oh, that was a pull right out of the Shroud. Troy getting caught with the combination. Such a clean kill coming out of Mark Boots and Warrior Mitch right there. Here we go on the top side though. mAAd jumping in, wanting the Camille. Very nice Hextech ultimatum to stop that ultimate damage, and he's able to flash over the walls. So sustain and retreat coming out. mAAd City getting a win on that side.
And they get a win on both sides because they get the kill in the mid lane. That instantly unlocks Inferno for them. And mAAd being top means that that's a free Drake right now for mAAd City. And they're getting all the objectives. And if you look over at their composition as well, they do scale great into the late game. Sivir, for all her short range, does a disgusting amount of damage. Shelly being dropped the top side. They're looking for first start to try and answer here.
Yeah, and actually it looks like they are able to get it. That is going to be the tower falling. It was below 2.5 plates. So they get the first tower on the top side. But I mean, they lost, I feel, in a major global game here. Again, you know, with the towers and with the game that you want, if you can't get the dragons, is you want that gold advantage. But even with first tower down, they only get a little bit. And Troy, once again, getting caught here, doesn't have flash, doesn't have anything. He is getting picked on 0-3. Troy, not the man in the mid lane right now.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, it's like he's permanently in his Twilight Shroud there. He can't be seen on the map at all. Just gets popped left, right, and center. He's 0-3-0. That's not where you want your Akali to be. And they got first turret, but they're instantly going to lose pressure in mid. And right now, no one can even get there. Cleave getting pushed off.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that Rift Herald was worth it right now. It feels like Miami University, they had the right idea with the composition, but the execution has been all mAAd City so far. You know, getting that early Drake, I think definitely surprised them with the Karthus plays, right? And then just the amount of pressure that has been laid down. Big props to mAAd City for coming out with a very strong game number 1 in the UCL opening week.
And their early game here has just been so well played. I hesitate to say so well planned, but we might see a fight break out here.
Yep, that's going to be a charge all the way in. That's going to be Digital, not rotating fast enough, gets the plate. Maybe a little bit of greed, but the damage is real. IBGN not having a good time, but the collapse 4-on-4 here does get the E down. That's going to be enough mana to get them out. And they just walk out scot-free. No, here comes the teleport. That's going to be the channel. Cosmic Radiance on top as well. They're just going to go all the way in. Two-man taunt finds them in the bottom lane. In goes Onslaught of Shadows. And the follow-up. The combo is there. But that's also going to be the return of Requiem. No, Troy does go down. Finally, Mark Boots picking up 2. That's going to be a 2 for 3 in a massive scale fight. And I mean, for all the power that Miami University put, they barely scrape out ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, that was probably as good a fight as they were likely to get there. So props to them for at least getting sort of the advantage in that fight there. I believe it was ultimately a 2 for 3 trade, actually. So they do come out ahead in terms of kills. So definitely a solid pickup from the side of Miami University. It shows the strength that they potentially still have there. Like you said, the Shen ultimate onto a Hecarim diving into the backline is just so strong. And the Cosmic Radiance felt a little bit mistimed, but I mean, it still nullified a bunch of damage. So you can see the team fight strength out of them. If they time it right and can nullify the burst coming out from the side of mAAd City, they can win out and sustain damage.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for here. And, you know, it's an uphill battle, you know, as much as we hate to say it, but Mark Boots getting caught out a little bit. Troy finally getting a 1v1 like he wants. Shockwave completely whiffs. Troy throws it down, says, you know what, without your team, you're nothing, and gets an easy 1-for-1 with a nice little 350 gold bounty.
Offside as well.
Yep. Lucent now getting receiving as well. That's going to be the Grand Starfall coming in. Double taunt really just delays the inevitable, as that's going to be a kill for Impaled. So 1-for-1 across the board as gold is being picked up by both squads.
Yeah, and right now the momentum has completely shifted here from mAAd City over to Miami University. Miami University just using their momentum so well right now. And I think for mAAd City, they might need to take a moment here to just regroup and reset and decide what it is they want to do. Because sending Mark Boots to solo split in a lane is very risky, especially against an Akali there. Akali is sort of a counter to Orianna, and before in lane, in the mid lane, they were struggling a little bit because Troy was so far behind. But now he's picked up a Gunblade, got 2 kills, 2 assists under his belt. He can certainly handle Mark Boots 1v1. Top side, we see the opposite, where Impaled getting that turret in the top lane. Impaled still able to fight Lucian right now, still going to dominate Lucian in that 1v1. So for now, it's a question of whether Troy can handle Impaled if they choose to split push here.
Yeah, I mean, split push, it's going to come down to, because the next dragon is coming up. That's going to be the Mountain Drake. So Mountain Soul, not the most combative, you know, soul that you want. But again, having that shield is always nice, especially against something like Troy who wants to assassinate. So any extra health bonus works, and we already see the full collapse coming out. 4 members rotating down. Shen does have the stand united, so Lucent will be able to join whenever he wants. We'll have to keep track of these big scale ultimates and see who makes a proactive play and who falters at a very crucial step.
Yeah, and right now for the side of Miami University, they've been just completely pushed out here. They have absolutely no vision, so they don't know the status of the Dragon here. And you can tell they've made the call. They aren't thinking of going in blind, maybe? Miyamo?
Yeah, Miyamo's looking, but that's going to be the signal dragon, and now Miyamo's caught. He gets the Shen ultimate. Stand United coming in. Troy caught on the backside. This is a weird pincer, and they get the catch. That's just going to be almost a complete shutdown in the backline. Perfect execution, catches one, but the team is following mAAd City, getting the proactive play and getting the damage down. Spear just whiffs on the backside by Warrior Mitch, and the kill goes over to Mark Boots. 4-1-4. The man is crushing it here in the mid lane, and a 4-for-1 with Dragon to boot nets mAAd City a massive lead here at 18 minutes.
Yeah, Dragon and Herald to boot as well, as they're rotating immediately topside, and Mark Boots was really the man of the hour there, because for a second it looked really, really bad for them. Miami University getting the fight they wanted. If you split up the side of mAAd City, they can't get all that AoE wombo combo that they want to get down. So it looked really messy, but Miyamo going in was actually the right move there, because he forced them to split their attention. Where are they looking? You've got Troy on one side, you've got Miyamo on the other, you've got Lucent coming in on top of them. It caused confusion, but Mark Boots, that ball, he left it and waited to that moment where all three converge on the same spot. Beautiful three-man shockwave to win that fight. If that shockwave didn't come down there, that fight turns out very, very differently.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what you got to do, and we're seeing the compositions bear fruit right now. You said the Shockwave was a big key player, and we're seeing it. So as long as Mark Boots is ahead 4-1-4, 171 CS to his name, the man is pumping out the damages. And looking at the goal difference, he's 1.5k up on his lane opponent, as Troy runs into 4, doesn't want to be there. Perfect execution is wasted, and a flash out means that's going to be Flower Kitty staying alive. But still, Troy getting caught out, and, you know, I don't want to say kind of convincing, but I mean, walking into Karthus, not the best move right there.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of weird because they actually had vision. I think that pillar there near the Raptor pit just slightly skewed the vision, and they actually didn't see the team coming in potentially, because I think he thought he had that 1v1. But bot side, lots of action still.
Yep, that's going to be the tower going down as the Rift Herald has been used. And again, getting 2 towers, actually for 1 Rift Herald and a kill, I think that will call it very much worth. And now with a significant lead, 5.8 to 5.9k in the lead. I mean, this is mAAd City's game to lose here in the first game of the series.
Yeah, 100%. And their flow this game has been so immaculate here. Dragon into Herald, into a pick, immediately rotate to the bot. They split. They get 3 turrets total there, 2 in the bot side, 1 in the mid lane as well. So they're playing the macro game so well. And with that lead, they really shouldn't have problems closing out this game. That being said, they do have to be careful there, because while they do have a Karthus, and Orianna, and a Sivir who all scale well, they also have a Pantheon support who doesn't scale well and is going to fall behind.
Yep, and now a fight in that mid lane is going to catch out Warrior Mitch, as he might fall. That's just going to be an easy pincer. And this has been the game plan that Miami University have been attempting the entire time. Group up, take down 2 at a time, and then get a global objective, as Baron is in their eyes with 4 pink wards dropped around the Baron.
Yeah, they really want to make sure there's no vision here. Unfortunately, they don't actually have vision behind the Baron pit. That being said, we're going to see the suicide attempt here.
Yeah, and they just immediately turn it. They say it's a 3-on-5. We saw Cosmic Radiance. We saw the fight. They found it. Troy goes golden, but it doesn't freaking matter, as they clean 2 more off of the enemy team, and Impaled is the last one to stand. He is alone, still has a Hextech ultimatum, but a beautiful call nets them 2 more, and the Baron bait has served its purpose.
100%. I mean, if you're at the side of mAAd City, you just take that and say that the silver lining, we got them off Baron, we can continue the game. That's mAAd City's mindset right now. But for Miami University, that was great play. Don't bother risking the Baron against the Karthus. He can just run into the pit. Just kill them. Take the kills. Try and equalize the score as much as possible, because you scale amazingly well as well. You've got an Ezreal. And as the game goes later and later, they're going to have a harder and harder time finding IBN here on that Ezreal. Already in the last fight, you saw how long IBN could just kite out when under pressure. So as he gets stronger, once he gets the Death's Dance, I mean, it's just going to be that much harder to kill him. And now, looks like they're catching out the Pantheon again.
Yeah, I mean, he's caught, gonna use a Hextech flash over the wall, but immediately runs into a blast coned Hecarim, so gonna feel pretty happy about that. But, I mean, that was their window, and they definitely got a lot of the shutdown. And I mean, that was huge as well because Mark Boots, I believe, had picked up that mAAd right at the same time he died. So that feels so bad that he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there. But I mean, it's an Orianna. You'll probably remain safe through these fights. And as I say that, fight breaks up.
Yeah, and again, here we go. Warrior Kitty, hello, Flower Kitty, jeez. I'm running through every single name here in the book. He falls very, very quickly. Defile is on the ground, or layaways. That's going to be a shockwave, barely making it work as the shield goes up. They just lose members, and all of a sudden, Miami University, with all the momentum in the world, running Mad City out of this game.
And Troy's starting to come online there, finding Flower Kitty in the back, saying, hello, Kitty, goodbye, Kitty. And suddenly we have a dead card. This no jungler, no smite means that they really have no chance of getting that Drake. And this is also a stay of reprieve here for the side of Miami University, because that was the Mountain Soul. And granted, Mountain Soul not the flashiest of souls, but it's going to make it so hard to kill them when they engage, which is going to be absolutely critical when all they want to do is throw all 5 members at you. If they all have shields, if they all have resistances, it just becomes so much harder to take them down. And now we are seeing a bit of a reset here. Baron is still on the table, and Mad City is still in the lead, but they have to be careful. They've been losing that lead in the last couple of minutes here.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to the fact that, yes, they had the early advantages with damage, but now you have to think, you know, it's a full squad on the side of Miami University that have a lot of saving ultimates. They have the ability to save and keep health bars alive, but that's going to be the shockwave going out. Cleave now getting jumped on, easy pounce on his support, just hoping to get some vision down. I mean, that is the game plan that you need. They didn't really have a tank. They've been caught out multiple times. All right, catch the enemy team instead.
Yeah, and IBN with that red buff steal as well. That was a nice cheeky little steal here. That being said, pardon me, they still have to watch out for the Baron here, which is being taken. They don't have vision. I think the blue buff might have spotted some action here, but they're going to the spine.
Yep, Mayamo dropping that pink ward in there. Going to be a little bit of a trouble with Troy. Getting caught on the side, and this time it's Mad City's turn to jump it. He's going to dance right back into the Shroud and jump out. That's going to be a nice, perfect execution, getting a 1-for-1. Backline fight goes out, and Requiem claims a second 2-for-2 across the board with Cleave. Trying to run in and help some more, but still, major people still up, but no tanks, so they don't want to try a 13.3k health Baron just yet.
Oh, and that's really well played from Miami University. They just traded 2-for-2 in a 4v5 here. Cleave just came up with, was not out of base at that point in time when the fight started. So Miami University doing an epic job right now, just stalling out the game, letting themselves scale. So now we look at the game state. It's very, very different from what we're looking at 5-10 minutes ago, where Mad looked like they were able to just roll out and close the game out here. They still do have a 5k gold lead. It is still significant at 25 minutes, but suddenly things have changed a little bit. Impaled right now is still very, very strong in the split push. I think they can just send him to do his own job, split pushing. I think he could still handle Troy for now, but they have to be careful of Troy, because Troy's been finding critical key targets. And anytime Troy finds the backline, somebody's probably going to die, and it's probably not going to be Troy.
Yeah, I mean, he went from, I think, 0-3 to 5-6. He's been able to find those kills, able to get that gold. He is currently matching Mark Boots in terms of itemization. Yes, the cost for his items is a little bit lower. I think maybe about 500 to 600 gold lower, but still doing very, very well. And as long as Mark Boots continues to get caught out like this, he will lose his Magi stacks and will not have a happy time. Warrior Mitch trying to jump on. He is completely on the wrong side of the map, trying to flash towards his top laner, but I don't think that's what they want to do. Troy picks up a solo kill as Pantheon had nowhere to go and nowhere to hide.
Yeah, a bit of mixed feelings about this, because on one hand, getting a catch is great. A 5v4 is always an advantage, but on the other hand, I mean, at this point, Warrior Mitch is not that important, but they have caught out Impaled, and that's important.
Yeah, Impaled, one of the majority stakeholders in catching and winning team fights, is now being chased out of the top lane, or bottom lane, I'm very sorry. But no one wants to follow up just yet on him, so they say, okay, we'll let you live for now, but next time we'll get you.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just wasting time. And you can see that Miami University as well. They don't want to pull the trigger on the Baron here. Killing the Pantheon, killing Warrior Mitch isn't enough to guarantee that safety on the Baron at all. You always have to be so careful of a Karthus just running in, puts the wall of pain down. He sits at the entrance of the Baron pit, and suddenly everybody's just burning down from that. Not to mention the shockwave as well. So they need to find something a little bit more on the side of Miami University if they want to look at Dragon. Baron, pardon me. I was looking at Dragon because that's coming in 30 seconds. And again, Soul Point. So every single time, Miami University has to contest for the Soul.
Yeah, and I think this is huge, right? You can definitely see the plays moving around at Mad City, understand that. And, you know, they've given up on the Baron. Look at the warding situation. It is massive in favor of this Miami University squad. As we see, the top lane is fighting. That's going to be the Grand Starfall coming in as well. But the collapse is much stronger from Miami, and they're going to find the damage coming out here. Cosmic Radiance keeping Lucent alive just for a little bit longer. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Both top laners falling. Not going to have that available, and they're just going to tower dive. They say it's a support. Easy double kill coming out here, and now the flash forward. Shockwave only finds one, but it's a primary member. Digital Stain flashing backwards, and the auto attacks flying fierce. Requiem possibly going to be coming down here shortly. No, Requiem was already used, but Mark Boots and Digital Stain very happy to chase this down. It's just IB Gen. It's just Cleave. No one else. This is an easy cleanup as they wipe the fight in a 5-for-3.
And just, wow, that fight, it started so far away. The Grand Starfall into that ball. And I think Impaled actually already had Lucent did to rights there. But, I mean, just coming down to secure the kill. And that means they are actually probably going to pick up the Soul here because that teleport coming down, Lucent.
Yeah, this is dangerous. Oh, okay. They reset it. This is dangerous. Lucent looking if he can get one out. He got it. He got it. The auto attack OP. Lucent.
They waited. Oh my goodness. I mean, they waited. They tried to let it reset. Lucent going over the wall. And the funny thing is that they actually hesitated. I guess Lucent is so tanky. I can't believe he took it. That right there was a game-making moment because they once more buy time. And here's the scary part too. The more dragons they take, the harder it's going to be to kill Lucent the next time. So getting tougher and tougher. That being said, Lucent dead means Baron something on the table again.
Yeah, that was the best, I think, Titanic Hydra reset on the damage that you could possibly have. That's going to be the ultimate going down. They secure that Baron, and the follow-up over the wall might be there. No, that's just going to be the Q going out. So they're going to hold off. But again, losing Dragon feels so bad, I feel. Here we go, though. The collapse is coming down. Troy getting along the flank, going to throw down the Q. Onslaught of Shadows catches one out. Shockwave catches 3 and the rebuttal. But that's going to be Mark Boots going golden. Might fall here. One more Q does it. Cosmic Radiance just a little bit late as 2 Barons immediately taken off the table. As Troy's going right back in. He knows they have no mana. And the Qs from IB Gen flying high and true. This is Miami University fighting back. They stalled out the Dragon Soul. They have completely nullified, I feel, the Requiem. That's only for flavor. Yep. Doesn't get the kill. Actually, burning down Miyamo. No kill.
I think he got down to about 20-something health there from the Leandri's burn. That was close. Miyamo almost becoming a dead horse from a spectral horse there. That was pretty tight. And Miami University, I think that was a great response. First of all, they had no chance of getting the Baron because Mad City did that perfectly. The Hextech ultimatum over the wall from Impaled meant that Miyamo simply could not get into the pit there. There's no getting out of that. So the fact Impaled got out as well is actually a huge deal. Granted, I think he it was kind of dicey. He did have to burn Flash, but he survived. And they get Baron on, I think it was 3 members of their team. So it's still a win for them there. And getting the kills from Miami University was all they could hope for, but a fight now again.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what they want. Troy now getting caught out into Hextech also made him. He is in the Shroud, but he might just fall. That's going to be the redemption, keeping him alive for just a little bit longer. Cleave now running away. Red buff popping on Digital Stain. In goes E, in goes the Boomerang as well, and they can't finish off the kill. Digital Stain actually goes down to about 50% HP from one Mystic shot coming out of IB Gen. So a little bit rough fights across the board means Troy out of the fight for another 30 seconds.
And that's actually huge here because Troy has been the one to sort of apply pressure into that back line. And with him I mean, we can see that Flower Kitty feeling a lot more comfortable. Digital Stain as well. They are walking up a lot more, applying pressure. And they're going to just get the Baron damage on all these turrets here.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy clutch coming out of Impaled. And excuse me, and Kitty on that bottom side. And that means the mid lane as well popped right open. And Mad City gaining some semblance of control in this game back after a monumental, pushback from Miami University.
Yeah, and one thing I'd also like to point out, at this point, the gold gap is 7,000. This is after Mad City picked up a Baron, picked up 2 turrets and an inhibitor as well. They only got about 2,000 gold off that Baron power play. Miami University has been doing a great job playing from behind. You certainly don't feel like it's a 7,000 gold gap. And once again, it's only 32 minutes. So 7,000 is significant. You can see in the item differentials there that there is a difference in terms of what items are coming out. But it's just, it doesn't feel that way because Miami University has been playing well. Their biggest problem in the last couple of fights has been that Hextech ultimatum, whether it be on Troy or IBN. Both of them are mobile champions, but when you're stuck in that Hextech ultimatum, you can't run anywhere. And then suddenly again, that Defile where whatever kitty, Forest Kitty,
Flower Kitty. We'll get it right one day. We will get it right one day.
Yes, we will eventually get that right. When Flower Kitty, just sits in the middle of that Hex ultimatum, it doesn't matter that you're sitting in a Twilight Shroud. It doesn't matter that you've arcane shifted to the limits of that that little arena there, because you're still just going to burn down. And both of them, they're so mobile, and that's usually how they survive. And without that option, they just go down, no more sustained damage, and Miami University on the back foot on that fight.
Yeah, and finally, we see for the first time, I think, Mad City getting a somewhat decent setup for this dragon. Now, it's very dangerous. Keep this in mind. Mid lane is open, bottom lane inhibitor is exposed, and top lane is currently getting pressured. So this is the point that Mad City have been playing for. They built up their advantages, and now they get to look for the pick. As Troy is once again sent to scout. Oh, this is dangerous. He might walk into 3. That's going to be a flash forward. That's immediately into the Zanyas. He's negated so much damage, though. He gets the Shen ultimate on behind, and he's still alive. Cosmic is coming down, keeping everyone alive. No, shutdown for the Shen. He gets the kill. Requiem comes down as well, and Mark Boots getting run out of the fight all the way by the horse. And would you know it, the fight breaks out 2-0 so far in favor of Miami University, but the health bars are bleeding. That's a return kill. Digital Stain on the backline, though, gonna be taking on 3 members. Impaled coming to help his ADC as Pantheon just chasing out Troy as well. That's gonna be the hook shot, not finding its mark. And now the return might be there. Hextech ultimate jumps out of the stun, and that is going to be the kills. Double kill coming out for Impaled. Might go down here. He is an IB Gen trying his best. This might be a trade. He gets it. The ADC that has been suppressed in the bottom lane for so long finds his mark. He is now 6-3-7. He wins on the back end for his team, and a 4-for-3 after an explosive early engage on Troy nets Miami University a heavy win.
And we're seeing a bit of a chase here from Troy, running circles. The dragon is the objective, and IBN's focused on taking that here. Can they steal it?
Oh, he might shockwave, and he gets it! Return seal comes out, and the fight's continuing. Now keep in mind, super minions are flooding the base, so this might just be a stall tactic. Lucent uses his TP as well. That, I don't think, was very optimal, as the dragon was already down, but they already channeled it, and now Lucent just looking for some revenge, but getting chunked out by the AP damage. Mark Boots and Flower Kitty cutting down through the mid and top. Oh, okay. So Troy says, not taking one of you to the grave. He goes 999s across the board as the base is being cleaned. So overall, I would say crazy fight, but Soul going over to Mad City.
And if you're the side of Miami University right now, especially if you're IBN, you're probably cursing a blue streak here, because the pings came down for Dragon, and Troy opted to go on a literal wild goose chase there after Warrior Mitch, and because of that, they end up losing the dragon that they've stalled out for so long, that Lucent gave his life up to try and secure the last time. And finally, the Mountain Soul goes over the way of Mad City. But that being said, that last fight there showing you Miami University, they aren't going to go quietly into the night. They've been slowly scaling up, and they can certainly win any fight where they don't immediately get Hextech ultimatum into a shockwave here. And Baron is on the table. Everybody is up. The mid-lane inhibitor is still down here. So Miami University playing a bit on the back foot, but they've been stalling out so well that I think at this point, Warrior Mitch really has become quite a non-entity in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to watch him stun out Troy, and Troy just went, nah, okay, I'm cool. Just got away very, very easily. And I mean, who is the next person he can stun? He can try IB Gen, but IB Gen has done so well playing in the back lanes, or back lines, that there's been no chance for him to catch anyone. And so really taking a look here, we have the shielding now for both Flower Kitty and Mark Boots, but they both are trying to build, I think, towards that Zanya's. The Magi Socio is really not putting in that much work. And now Baron on the table here, so down to about 5.5, and they're going to look very nice. XX Ultimatum, no seal coming out today. Shockwave whiffs the one more time. Requiem going to come down. Cosmic Radiance just a little bit late, but to get the shielding, no one dies, and everyone is prepped for the final combat.
Okay, and this is a very, very different Baron from what we saw last time here. The last time we saw Baron, we did see the two base turrets go down in the bottom mid lane. Mid inhibitor also went down, but that was after sort of a very messy escape after they got Baron, where they lost 2 members. This time, everybody's up. They've all gone back. They've all begun shopping, and we're starting to see full builds coming out as well on the side of Flower Kitty as well as Mark Boots here. So they are ready and online. Digital Stain with that stopwatch as well. And we've already seen Digital Stain pumping out a lot of damage in these team fights. So on the side of Mad City, they're ready and willing to fight right here with the burn buffs. Miami University has to stop this, has to find the right fight, and they need to do it more than once here.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking 2 of the squishiest members now on the bottom lane. Troy takes 1 lace and gets deleted. The Defile is there. Troy just gets chunked out. The man tried to make a play and got caught for it. What a happy reprieve, as that is going to be Mad City breathing a sigh of relief for catching Troy out here.
Yeah, and that's all they needed here. They just needed to find one person, and that should give them more than enough pressure to just push in and look to end this game here. It's going to be so difficult for Miami University to stall, I think, at this point. Rather than stalling, just, maybe one last hurrah, look for that all-in, hopefully try and kill them.
Yep, that's the hope. That's going to be the True Shots of Barrage doing minimal damage here as Flower Kitty takes a little bit of poke, drops down to 3/4 health. Top lane being broken, and Pale just taking the rest of the base. This is Mad City saying, listen, we're mad, but not crazy. That's going to be a shockwave going in. They take the entire base. They take a few more lives as the last stand falls mute. 4 kills going down, 5 to make it an ace. The base in shambles, literally nothing standing except for Troy to watch his team fall. That is going to be game number 1 going Mad City's favor.
And that was, what a way to start the UCL here. This is an amazing game, almost 40 minutes. And I mean, some people might call it fiesta, but I thought it was just a masterful display of skill back and forth between the two teams there. Just so well played between the teams. And before we started the game, I called it a clash of ideologies. And you can really see that here because Miami University, they played it actually really, really well for their composition. They got the backline engages they're looking for. The Ezreal kited as best he could. Miyamo was all over the map, got some great engages there. And Mad City, just the constant just aggression, running into the enemy team, looking for picks, looking to just get those Hextech ultimatums off. It was just, what a great game here.
Yeah, and looking at their winning side, they had the aggression as well coming out. The early game kills that we saw, the early game dragons as well, really helped them snowball. But some of the things that we do have to kind of criticize and look towards game number 2, I mean, Troy looking a little bit out of his element, getting forced out of mid lane, having some plays later, but, dying in some of those situations seemed to really put Miami University on the back end there.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that was also Miyamo just not able to find anything because of the way Flower Kitty played so well. So one thing I like to point out also is Flower Kitty did the most damage in the game by a huge margin here, just shy of 50,000 damage in a 40-minute game on that Karthus. And like we said, beginning early game, Karthus is weak, but level 3, level 4, you saw Flower Kitty always just being at the right places, and he just had to show up to dissuade Miyamo. So absolutely massive play coming up from Flower Kitty here throughout, from start to finish of this game.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if they can do it again. Again, this is a best of 3. We'll see if Miami University can pull out all the stops and take game number 2, push it to a game number 3, or if Mad City will claim the first 2-0 of the UCL. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2 here on the opening week of the UCL between Mad City and Miami University. These guys have been playing like crazy. Game number 1 going in favor of Mad City. However, it was not without its bumpy road.
No, and it was such a close game. It was so back and forth throughout the entire thing. Really, either team could have won it. And to me, I can't think of a better way to start an entire league than a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, these guys went back and forth early games, stepping in Mad City. They went 4-1, early advantages. Yes, they lost first tower, but they kept the gold even. Mid game, a couple rough plays. Definitely watching Miami University, Ohio run it back with multiple team fights and some glorious steals. I mean, Lucent with an auto attack reset. I think that's like one of the more painful things to see, right? Except for maybe like an Ash W stealing it. Um, but a beautiful job staying in the game, getting those dragons, and then some unfortunate missteps just allowing the game to go into Mad City's favor. So I'm expecting a lot of heavy firepower coming out of Miami, Ohio University this time around.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Miami University isn't going to go down without a fight here. And what I'm super interested to look at is also what they're going to do here in game 2 with the drops. Because like what we were talking a little bit in the off time there in the intermission. And, I said to you, bro, that I don't really know what you're going to do with the draft here because I felt like both drafts were so good. So I'm curious to see if Miami University opts to just run it back again with the exact same draft, or maybe, like you mentioned, something in the mid lane that would enable Miyamo a lot more. I believe, like you mentioned, a Zillion, like whether they'll do that, because I think that would also be another great adaptation to make a small change on something that's already working so well.
Or even take the Oriana, right? I think it goes really well. You were pointing out the similarities as well as the differences in the team compositions. And I think you have to recognize a lot of those points, right? You had pointed out that these compositions have drastically different win conditions in terms of how they're supposed to be played. And also harping on, the triple door and shields when you have a Hecarim that's going phase rush, who wants to fight. It doesn't lend itself to a lot of confidence if they have Doran shields and don't really have the damage. So, we'll wait and see if they're able to draft and how they're going to enable their jungler as we do get into the pick and ban phase here. Again, Miami University, Ohio will be on blue side this time. So getting that chance to really prop themselves up with a strong first pick.
Yeah, and that first pick is going to be absolutely massive here for themselves as well. Last game, we did see the Pantheon first pick coming out from Mad, but this time it's going to be banned right away. They recognize it's a huge problem, the Evelyn as well, and they're going to keep the Caitlyn ban that they used actually last game on the Rid side. So interesting choice there from Miami.
Yeah, they forego the set ban here for the Pantheon. They have said that Pantheon early game is really what stuffed them, and that's what they need to get rid of. So I'm very interested. Again, the early roams coming out of him was very, very strong, and the Shen ban in response, leaving open that Ashe. So Gragas hovered, Fizz hovered, just rotating through everyone pretty much on the list, and finally leaving the hover on no one apparently.
I mean, I think the Ashe first pick would not be a bad idea, but they go for Graves instead. So they want a solid jungle for Miyamo. The Hecarim didn't quite work out quite as well. I think Graves a much safer pick there. Doesn't have to throw himself into the harm's way to accomplish his job. So solid pick. But they have left Ashe open, and we did talk a little bit about Ashe being sort of still one of the most picked ADCs here. Fits really well. Doesn't really have super bad lanes. So that's now open. Potentially Mad City could pick it up.
Yep. Being left down to the wire, and they say, all right, better safe than sorry. Take the Ashe, have that potential there. Now the question is what are they going to pair it with, right? A lot of options here, a lot of choices, but you don't have the Pantheon.
Yeah, and they frankly don't need to. The set that got banned last game, actually, I suspect was also targeted at Warrior Mitch. He has been playing a lot of set support. Gragas support is actually something that I noticed showed up on his match history. I don't know how serious that pick is, though. Instead, they're going for a counter jungle to Graves here. Elise, I've not seen her in a hot minute. I'm super excited to see her.
Yep, Elise coming out. And again, I think this fits with Mad City's early game aggression. It's not the Karthus who's going to have that mid to late game power spike, but if you're going to capitalize on the early stages and want to duel against the Graves early, this is one of the few champions that I think can give you that early game edge.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, saying that it's not like the Karthus is, I mean, that's an understatement. It's almost on the complete other side of the spectrum here. Elise has a time limit. She's strong early, but she falls off pretty hard late game. So we definitely have to look at Flower Kitty to make moves early, and he certainly did do so already on the Karthus. So to me, that's a really good sign that he could continue to do that on a champion who's even more enabled to do it. We see the Xayah coming through here for the side of IBN for Miami. The question is, are they going to go with the Rakan? Yep, the Livers bot lane. I mean, standard sort of bot lane here. So really, really strong, safe draft from Miami so far.
Yeah, and looking at it, I mean, you have to decide, right? I think picking up a support here is a huge factor for Mad City as well. You know, when you see the Xayah Rakan, you got to pick something up and make sure you can stuff that engage. I wouldn't, even though not like the highest priority support, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a Morgana coming out here.
Yeah, no, Morgana is actually a really, really solid thing, but there we go. That's the set that got banned. And for good reason. I mean, Warrior Mitch has been spamming that set and Pantheon. And if he can put up a showing on the set similar to what he did on the Pantheon, that'd be absolutely amazing. The other thing too is Set's actually pretty good into Rakan. Rakan wants to go in, get the CC off, and Set can just grab him there, pull him in, and all of a sudden Rakan didn't get the engage he wanted. He actually just walked into a trap. So solid bot lane coming out. They do have to be careful for getting poked out, but I'm pretty confident that the side of Warrior Mitch here is very comfortable with it.
Oh, and the Kennen ban here being banned away, understanding that they are looking for a type of engage outside of the Rakan. Take away the Kennen, don't allow that slicing Maelstrom on the field. And in response, the Nautilus safe ban, it seems like they're definitely saying, okay, Set can still be flexed. We want to make sure to pressure that Set into the bottom lane and possibly push into our favor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Set is that champion that technically gets flexed into every single role except for ADT, pretty much. So, yes, there was modifications to the way his kit works so that to do as much damage as he used to, he has to build AD, but he's still tanky. He can still go into different lanes here. I don't know necessarily if Mark Boots and Impaled play a lot of Set. Impaled definitely used to. But yeah, so we'll have to see. I think, yeah, the Nautilus ban just a safety ban for now because Nautilus definitely ruins Rakan's day as well. And the Akali ban coming out. I think that's somewhat deserved. Troy 1 did have a lot of impact with that Akali in the late game in game 1.
Yep. Like you said, you know, yes, lost the early game a little bit, but you can never count an Akali out. And double support bans here. So that makes me wonder, is this set not supposed to go to Warrior Mitch?
Maybe not. We'll have to see here. And actually, I really like the Galio draft here from Mad City because at this point, it could be a Set mid or Set top. It could be a Set support. Galio could go mid or support as well. So they're trying to keep everything open all the way to the very end. They also do have counter pick here. So I'm actually really, really liking the way Mad City dropped it. Miami dropped it a really solid start to the game here. But I'm actually personally not sure the Graves was necessarily worth the first pick. That being said, they're drafting the Wukong for the top lane here. So yeah, they're definitely indexing heavily on that AoE here.
Yeah, Wukong making his appearance on the Rift. First one gonna be dropping out here, I think. And it's gonna be fun. You know, the monkey is gonna be playing some tricks, making some engage plays happen. I mean, if you tag on an Orianna on the backside, I mean, that's a nasty surprise waiting for a lot of champions that love to group up. Last couple seconds, Orianna locked in. This time, going to Miami University, Ohio. Will be given to Troy to see if he can have the same kind of game that Mark Boots did.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what the last pick is coming out. I mean, I think Galio into Orianna is a pretty decent lane, so that might be a top lane counter pick potentially coming out from Mad City. I'd be very, very surprised to see. I'd be very, very surprised if it turns out they left it for a support counter pick here.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, so that is a Galio support with a Set top and LeBlanc mid. So massive flexing coming out of Mad City here and a lot of mind games.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm guessing at this point that it's probably a Set top Galio support, most likely here. So very interesting. And another interesting thing to me is their draft seems to have completely flipped here. In game 1, it was mAAD City looking for that hard engage AoE wombo combo. This time, it's Miami who's drafting themselves the sort of AoE wombo combo here. So very different, and mAAD City this time with a bit more of a counter pick draft coming out, a bit more flex here. So definitely excited to see them play kind of a similar matchup, but on different sides of the tables this time.
Yeah, and again, we do have some major flops though, because I do want to kind of touch on that bottom lane first off, because last time we saw Miami University Ohio go for that Ezreal Taric, right? That had the mid to late game pressure, not really winning the early game. This time around, they got the Lovers duo Xayah Rakan, known as big bully champions, against the like of an Ashe Galio. Now again, there's a whole thing, right? Like, I don't want to say Galio's going to go on the top side and we see a set support. Like, I would feel bad because I feel I would lose a lot of credibility. But looking at it overall, I mean, do you think these guys can pull it off? Because I mean, we saw IB Gen pop off in the late stage.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a kind of complicated game state in this way, because at this point, I'm assuming it's a Galio Ashe bot lane, and again, it could be a set Ashe, so we'll have to see. But assuming it's a Galio Ashe bot lane here, I think they have it a little rough into the Xayah Rakan. It's sort of an early game. The Ashe might be able to push out Xayah a little bit, but as we start approaching into the mid to late, I think Xayah is an absolute team fight monster. But in lane, I think it'll be fairly even. Instead, I'm looking at the junglers, and both junglers this time have drafted really strong early game junglers who can look to gank. So I think the bot lane is going to be more about the junglers, really, to see if Flower Kitty comes in with that at least, which he kind of has to look for ganks somewhere, anywhere, really, versus Miyamo Big D's Graves. And Miyamo Big D is very good on Graves. So and they prioritized it. They gave him first pick, and he picked that. So I have to see big plays coming off Miyamo with this game.
Yeah, and this time he does have some some lane matchups that will allow him to do that. Like we said, Troy, not on a full-blown assassin, but having that Orianna, having that utility bouncing back and forth will definitely help. Wukong on the top side, once he hits level 6, will have that have that knockup, have that cyclone, and then bottom lane Rakan and Xayah both have CC to be able to lock down the Ashe Galio, like you stated. And being able to get those level 2, level 3, and this time having the level 4 advantage to possibly take Dragon on his own, right? Because I don't think Elise can take Dragon on her own.
No, well, maybe she. I'm trying to remember if she can. I think with the Spiderling, she can actually tank quite a bit of damage there if she does it right. But she will most likely call a lane over to help. More likely, what we're going to see coming out of Flower Kitty here is just going to be a gank into the lane, get a kill, transition immediately to Dragon, because 2 people, more than enough for Elise to take a Dragon down. And actually, Elise LeBlanc is a very, very scary lane to see, because that's one of the OG burst lanes here. So yeah. I am expecting to see Cleanse come out for Troy, and maybe even for IVN as well, because if you get hit by a Cocoon mid lane, right away, Troy's going to be dead if Mark Boots just goes in on him. So definitely need to cleanse their bot lane as well. If a Cocoon lands, IBN might get bursted down, followed by an Enchanted Crystal Arrow to the face. It's going to look pretty bad, and confirmed it is going to be Galio support set top.
Yeah, gonna have some fun here. Again, no set support for Warrior Mitch. Sadly, very, very sad. But again, get to see the Galio, another fun engaged champion. Finally, I want to get your thoughts here on, like you said, the jungle is going to be very high priority. Do you think it is only going to be the bottom lane that they're going to be visiting, or do you think they'll be meeting, kind of counter jungling each other and, finding each other in invades as well?
Honestly, I don't think we're going to see that much invade coming out from the side of Flower Kitty here. I think Miyamo can look for the invade, maybe. It's going to be a little risky. Instead, I think we're going to see Flower Kitty visiting mid lane a lot. And honestly, you can look for top lane as well. You can burst down a Wukong with an Elise. So Flower Kitty really set up for success in this game with potential ganks in all 3 lanes. Miyamo, again, a bit harder lanes to gank, but he can just play the counter to Flower Kitty like Flower Kitty did in game 1, where he can just show up the counter gank. Graves is very strong jungler as well. So yeah, I think the agency is going to be on the side of Flower Kitty.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if that comes true and what happens in this game. But before we do go into a break, I do want to talk about another one of our amazing sponsors, our parent company, UEA, Unified Esports Association, or UEA, is a Kansas-based company that oversees multiple products that specialize and operate as a dynamic pipeline within the esports industry, providing shared experiences that directly serve collegiate, youth, hobbyists, and amateur video game players at every stage. Starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University, UEA has since grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the US. They host tournaments for games such as League of Legends, Rocket League, as well as Overwatch and more. For more information, check them out at uea.gg. With that, we will be going to a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2 between mAAd City and Miami University, Ohio.
Can we do...
Back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being patient. We are here into the game, coming in once again. Mad City up 1-0, coming in and hopefully shutting it out with a very aggressive composition, I would say, or not aggressive, depending on what you want to make of it. But an Elise coming out for Kitty in the jungle with Mayamo on the Graves.
I mean, if there's a team who can pull off this sort of aggression early, I think Mad City has shown that they really have a plan in the early game and know how to execute it. So I am looking to see Flower Kitty snowball a massive lead for the team. If not, I don't think they have quite as good scaling as they had in game one here.
Yeah, not exactly the best. Again, this time around, the Pantheon, game number one, the Pantheon was the kind of problematic situation, and now you have the Elise, so very much so gonna have to watch that. But across the lane, just like you called it, two cleanses coming out. Troy and IB Gen running that cleanse, and phase rush for Mayamo as well, so having that slight resistance coming in.
Yeah, we spoke a bit about how phase rush on the Hecarim means you want to have an early game. Well, Miyamo is going on it on the Graves as well, so he's indexing pretty heavily onto the early game as well. I think it's a fair choice. They need to deal with Flower Kitty, and it looks like we actually might get a delayed invade coming out.
Yeah, very delayed, as that ward will be taking out 10 gold to both Mayamo and IB Gen. They're going to steal away the blue buff here, as at least did start on the red side, so at least not losing out on that regard.
That was incredibly with the volley coming through as well.
No one saw that. No one saw that. Mayamo did not smite and have the blue buff down at 1 HP. Definitely couldn't have been stolen, so he's good. It's going to be early game training aggression, though, in that mid lane, as we fully expected. As it's going to be level 2, actually. Impaled coming out with a massive level 2 fight on Lucent. Lucent taken down to about 35% HP.
Really talk too much about the laning phase of the top laners last game, but both Impaled and Lucid are actually pretty aggressive carry style top laners here. So despite the fact that he was on Shen last game, Lucid, you could see, was definitely making the plays. I mean, that Dragon Steal was definitely a highlight reel moment. Impaled as well on this set, he's not going to go tank, like just passive set. No, he's going to try and control the lane, live up to the name as the boss in the top lane here.
Yeah, and this is a full vertical jungling situation. We see Elise living on that the top side if you split through mid. And, I mean, clearing out pretty much everything. However, I think Mayamo might have a little bit of an advantage here, because the pathing, he already cleared out the entirety, so he won't have to return to one side. But it looks like we're going to try and get a tower dive, potentially. I'm not sure if that's what he wants to do. Impaled getting double teamed by the clone in the original. And now looking for a potential dive.
Got to make this count. He's spending a lot of time here. And Impaled getting really low.
Oh, that is so close. But first blood still goes over to Flower Kitty, as Impaled was dropped, I think, down to about 5 to 10 HP.
I didn't catch how low he went, but he got real low there. I think that was almost a panic flash coming out of Flower Kitty there, knowing he had to go in. That being said, Lucent was already so low on health. He's now teleported right back into lane. And guess what? Flower Kitty's still hanging around. So we might see a round 2, depending on how long it takes for Impaled to get there.
Yeah, might want to take that chance, but no, he's not going to waste the teleport. So Elise says, okay, that's a little bit of waste of time. Going to recall, but I got my gank off. Digital Stain. And Warrior Mitch, though, if they try and go for this war, this might be dangerous. That's going to be the canister going down. Smokescreen is able to block him off, and he's going to jump up. A nice body block. Mayamo catches him out, and that just means dead to rights. That's going to be Galio falling in the bottom lane. A little bit of a rough flash there, I feel, but very nice pickup by Mayamo.
Yeah, and not only was it a great pickup, he didn't spend half the time that Flower Kitty did setting up that gank as well. So he is up ahead a little bit, does not get first blood, but I think Miyamo getting a pretty good start to the game here for himself on this Graves. And even more importantly, he's giving IBN and Cleve a much better bot lane in game 2.
Yeah, immediately Mark Boots teleporting right back in, says, all right, gonna take that chunk. And keep in mind, Troy didn't go teleport, so that is why Mark Boots is trying to push that aggression, get that lane advantage. Mayamo coming around for a secondary gank, and they know it. That's gonna be Digital Stain, and Warrior Mitch getting caught once again. Flash out Digital Stain, but I don't think that's gonna matter. Auto attacks are there. Heal comes out as well, but that's gonna be a flash. And an auto attack. Oh, Mayamo dropping down to about 100 HP. But they're able to get the kill, and Warrior Mitch stays alive.
Yeah, that reload mechanic, real dicey there. He has to be careful, though, because we are seeing Warrior Mitch looking to trade his life here. I think he'd consider it worth with a bounty here on Miyamo.
Oh, yeah, and here we go. But remember, IB, Gen, and Cleve are both fairly healthy. They're going to try this 2-on-3 as top lane is going to be a one-on-one sparring. That's going to be a jump in with a double taunt. That's what exactly they wanted, but now, yes, Warrior Mitch has to dash and run. That's going to be a kill going over. Minions might take it. He does fall to minions, and that might be all they need. I don't think Flower Kitty is able to take it. One more cocoon lands, and they're just going to push out the bottom lane as a smite comes down. Little bit antsy there. Kitty definitely wanting a bit more than he could probably get.
And we expected early action. We're getting it in spades here. Both junglers going hard across the map, especially in that ball lane. This is what I love to see. And we're getting Ocean Drake as the first Drake once again this game, but neither team really in the best position to take this after that scramble in the bot lane here.
Yeah, and let's take stock of what happened in that bottom lane, right? 102 to IB Gen, 40 CS to only 30 CS by Digital Stain. Multiple summoners burn, flash soul out for IB Gen, and only kills really going over to the characters that you really don't want it to. Galio picking up one of the kills and Elise picking up the other. Not exactly priority when IB Gen already has 1 and 2 assists.
No, definitely not. The gold spread is less than ideal on the side here of mAAd City, but I think at this point you take what you get, right? And giving it to the side of the Galio to the Elise is not great for the late game, but it will give them a bit of an immediate boost in strength as well. It will allow Warrior Mitch to zone out a little bit better. It will let Flower Kitty look to transition leads, and considering that Ocean Drake's on the table, immediate benefits are what you need here to secure this one.
Yep, very nice rotate. You saw that the wave was prepped by Digital Stain and Warrior Mitch. They say, okay, gonna rotate over and very cleanly pick that one up. So although this time they're down in kills, they're up in the global objectives once again.
Yep, and right now, Miami University here, they are sort of on the front foot in terms of kills, but once again, we're seeing that their macro play is a little bit sloppy compared to the side of mAAd City, who's always rotating, always making sure they're in position for these early Drakes here. Now, top side, a bit of fight breaking up.
Yep, not able to pull Wukong under the tower, but that will do it as a big wave is there. So I don't know if Impaled wants to do a flash out from Impaled, and he just falls. Lucent coming up with a solo kill.
And Lucent, that dash was so good, but bot lane, we're seeing more action again.
Yeah, and that's going to be dive under the tower. I don't know if that's what he wants. Nice feather catch. That's going to be the root under the tower. And that's going to be Digital Stain looking, but that's going to be a cocoon through the minions. An assassination from the spider in the bush. Big win on the bottom side to change it up to a 1-for-1.
Yeah, that's another kill going the way of Flower Kitty here. Not ideal, but he missed the cocoon.
Yeah, that's going to be a flash out, and the collateral damage plus the ignite is going to take it. Cleve picking up his first of the game, and that was well timed as they knew that Flower Kitty had nothing else in the tank. Easy rundown for them.
Miami University, they're showing up big here at the beginning of game 2. And the problem for the side of mAAd City is you dropped an Elise. You needed to win the early game. You drew one of the best early game junglers who doesn't scale. So the fact that they're sort of not able to find their leads right now is a little worrying for their side.
Yeah, absolutely. And we really had to keep track. Again, this team functioned on the fact that they were able to get early objectives take those global presence plays and be able to rotate that into tangible leads. The problem comes about is, again, they lost momentum in the mid-game stage. They lost 2 dragons, gave it up in some sloppy fights. This time around, though, they are going for both. They're getting the first Rift Herald, so they might be able to push down one of the lanes, maybe top lane, but this is a dangerous collapse. Troy looking to try and help out as well. Shockwave is available. In comes Lucent as well. That's going to be the Cyclone. That's going to be the take. That was a nice hold by Flower Kitty, and that's going to be the showstopper, dropping him all the way in the back line. In comes the Haymaker as well as Mayamo falls to the ground.
Oh, the arrow not kind of finding anybody there. But one thing to pay attention to was Mark Boots there. We didn't talk too much about Mark Boots in game 1, but he actually had the highest kill score on the Orianna against the Akali. And here on the LeBlanc this time, he's the one on the Assassin, and he's making it count. He's zoned Troy 1 completely out of that fight. That Shockwave could not get in there. And one thing that Miami University's a little short on is tank right now, and it really showed in that last fight because Miyamo, Lucent, Troy, none of them want to get popped. And with a LeBlanc, that's just a risky proposition to say the least.
Yeah, and I mean, you already lost the objective. Why stick around that long? So I think only losing 1 member in that entire scenario is not the worst, but Troy now does have the cleanse, does have the flash, able to cleanse, but doesn't cleanse just in time. A little bit late, so he takes a lot more punishment than I think he wanted. And that's going to be an unfortunate scenario as he now is out both summoners as his tower is being pressured down.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you take the cleanse for, right? Like, sure, you lost a bit of health, but you survived. And that's really what matters. And topside, repeat gank.
Yep, repeat gank this time, impaled, no flash, no ultimate as he just falls to the staff. Gonna be a little bit painful as he is gonna have his tower pushed in as well.
And that was so clean coming out of Lucent. And Miyamo there, they hardly take any damage at all. And Lucent is really starting to take over pressure in that top lane. He is down CS, was struggling a little bit early, but certainly making up for lost time right now. And Miyamo on this Graves is like night and day from his Hecarim play. Bot side, though, Digital Stain catching out IVN.
Yep, and that's going to be a nice little hold. That's going to be the Cocoon with, but they immediately drop it in with the arrow to follow it in the backline. Cleave almost getting taken out as well. That's going to be LeBlanc running away, but again, no Ignite. Just some good damage as plays and catches are being made across the board here.
Yeah, this is absolutely nuts. And thank you, Scuffed League, for raiding with a party of 56 here. You came just in time for the exciting part. Kills, action, and Shelly charging into that bot side. That's going to be a ton of plates going the way here of Mad City. And they're starting to really balance out the sort of loss and control they had in the early game. Their objective control right now, as well as their mid lane strength, is really starting to show up here big.
Yeah, one of the problems, though, I just saw, that's going to be the hero's entrance being used as Dragon's coming out, so they won't have that ultimate available for any big team fight. Both top laners will maybe have it. Lucent has teleport. That's why you see Set running all the way down, trying to make an appearance at this Infernal Drake. Remember, this is pretty much the exact same stance that happened in game number 1. Over the wall goes Mark Boots, trying to chase out a jungler, but that's going to be a very nice ult as they come in. Shockwave lands on 2, though. Fight breaks out. Mad City getting a little bit better, but that's going to be Lucent teleporting right into the fight. Goes Golden, as that is going to be the Galio taking the brunt of the force, goes down as well. And the feathers are cutting through the health bars as Miami University, Ohio get the kills that they want. They lose the dragon, but they're going to collect 3, I believe, as that is going to be Flower Kitty running for his life.
And again, we're seeing a very, very clear difference in sort of mindset and objectives here. On the side of Mad City, they prioritize that Inferno Drake so heavily. Flower Kitty just didn't even bother fighting at all. He 100% tunneled on that dragon. He's focusing on the objectives he can take. And
very nice flash, though. They pick up the kill. The Lovers duo falls prey to the CC coming out of Elise and Ash. Well done on the back end. I feel bad for cutting you off, but my God, plays are being made across the board, even under the tower. What is going on? These guys are playing on a knife's edge.
Yeah, and no, I mean, cut me off because apparently they want to prove me wrong. They can have their cake and eat it too. They get the Drake and they pick up the kill. Just as I was saying, their objective focus, they go and get the kills under the turret. Great play. And to a certain extent, this is what Flower Kitty needs to do on the Elise here. And he's doing it. He's got 5, 1, and 2. He is the bulk of the kills on his team, has the Runic Echoes, has the Sork Shoes. This is a bit of that power spike right now where he's got penetration and he's got damage. He needs to abuse his strength right now. And Miyamo before this was looking so good. Well, now suddenly Flower Kitty's back on the board. They've got objectives, so they're almost even in gold. 600, 700 gold difference, not that big. They've got Ocean and Inferno Drakes. We said last game, the best combination. So they're suddenly in a really strong position back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and this time it's not the Mountain Drake, it's actually the Cloud Drake. So 20% extra CDR on the ultimate is always very nice when you have the Hero's Entrance, the Crystallized Arrow, as well as the Showstopper. Major ultimates that you want up for team fights, right? Again, it's not going to help so much on the LeBlanc or the Elise. Both of them don't really care. However, you do want it, as that's going to be a jump in. That's going to be a flash under tower. He brings them all the way in. Might get an actual kill. He does! Impaled says thank you. As we do see Warrior Mitch jumping in on the top side. That's going to be the second charge of the Cyclone, but he might fall. He might not get it. He doesn't get it. What is this? A completely botched tower dive coming out from Miami. University of Ohio means they are losing out on several incidents. Cleve jumps all the way in. He is going to get the jump, but the shockwave lands on the wrong member. And now they're getting chased and run out of the map as well. They have no ultimates. Cleve has no jump. He's going to get rooted, dive in, and a flash misses over the wall. Cleve is going to fall. Taunt goes out. Down goes Troy as the arrow might land. No, Blastcone keeps him alive just for a little bit longer as Mark Boots on the chase now. Everyone else is collapsing. This chase is going on for so long, and that's going to be a kill. Miyamo picking up the support on the back end. But would you know it? We thought Miami had it. We thought they had an advantage, and all of a sudden, 2 kills to Impaled on the top side means Miyamo now has no control over his jungle. The CC chain is there, and this is Mad City's map.
Yeah, Mad City definitely living up to their near name right now, because that was absolutely mad. I mean, Flower Kitty got 17 stacks in that madness, and he's going to get more here.
He just doesn't care. He's a spider. He wants his prey. They teleport Impaled in. They say, yeah, let's go for it. That's another one. That's 2 as well. He has 9, 1, and 3. 16 minutes. He is 25 stacks in. The man is going back with 2.2k in his pocket. Oh, my Lord. Troy now on the chopping block as well. This is Mad City saying, listen, we got to push our advantage. That's what we're going to do. Troy being run out of the mid lane, as Lucent is sitting off on the jungle side. But my God, what a massive swing in favor. My gosh, Kitty just went back and bought a straight up Lichbane. What is this? They're still going. It's not stopping. They say they don't want us to stop talking. They're going to fight. Oh, but this is a bad point. Impaled now getting chunked out. They ran into 4 members. So again, they fold this time. They pay the price for their aggression. But I mean, come on, they've done so well. That's gonna be another cocoon landing, and he gets it! He gets it without the chomp cleave. Now has to run away. He's sprinting as fast as he can. Repel up, repel down, double kill for the Elise. Might actually get another one if he's able to get the cocoon. No, cocoon misses. They get the shutdown. But it goes Mark Boots. He says he wants a piece as well. Kills across the board. Oh my Lord.
And I think I can call it a day right here, Orbital. I mean, they've just been non-stop action here. That's absolutely nuts. Kitty Flower went from 0 to 25 in about 2 minutes there, and now he's back down to 15. That is not okay there in terms of the damage. Like that's just absolutely obscene. And Mad City just making a huge comeback. All of a sudden, they just as I was talking about objectives, before all that madness starts, they go on a massive, absolute killing spree. Get first start, and they're going to keep on going here.
Oh, there goes the roots over the wall as a dash out is there. IBGen losing his flash as we do hit 18:10 on the clock right there. They're going to look towards the dragon and going to be trying to move forward again. This is the composition that they wanted. Mad City saying, all right, we lost the early game. It's gonna have some problems. All right, we'll take it. Now we're at the 3rd Dragon State as we are we are having a bit of fun watching Mad City just take off, right? Like we wanted to see this aggression. They have the Elise. They have some of the earliest game champions, and they can make it happen, right? This Elise is now not just an early game champion. It is mid game. This is mid game Elise.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost call it late game at least, with that 15 stacks Lich Bane and Runic Echoes here,
Oh.
and they call this.
Lucid able to get away, able
Okay.
to pop that clone just very, very slightly. As you do see Mark Boots again trying his best to get some damage down. That's gonna be drawing the hero's entrance out. Not exactly the best pull on an ultimate, so maybe a tad over aggression, but still bottom lane falling. Yes, they're losing Rift Heralds, but what's second Rift Herald to a tower in the bottom lane?
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to keep on pushing. Miyamo on that top side, trying to answer with Shelly right away, I believe. We'll probably drop Shelly here to try and get that turret. But like you said, what is the outer turret here in Shelly compared to the inner turret in the bot lane? And just right now, Mad City have to run on the map. You can look at the vision too. They've completely warded out the bottom side of Miami University's jungle. That's no longer Miami University's jungle. They've lost the inner turret, so they have no control over here. The vision has it all lit up even better than their own jungle, really, at this point. That being said, no dragon for the next 3.5 minutes. We can finally take a moment and reset, because the only objective left on the map right now for both teams is Baron coming up right here. And Mad City just took a bunch of turrets, got a ton of gold, and put themselves in the lead. We said Kitty Flowers on at least does fall off, but when you're 11-2 at 20 minutes, that fall off point suddenly goes a lot further away, because you're ahead of the curve right now, and you're really, really strong. And they can just walk into Baron later and just push for that, take it, and look for turrets. We do see the Runan's Hurricane as well as the Essence Reaver on Digital Stain. So in team fights, they're going to be absolutely massive as well. They've got pick, they've got team fight right now. We said it in game one, but it's Mad City's game to lose.
Yeah, Miyamo and Impale dueling it out. That's going to be a trade of ultimates, as that is a whip, but it gets him over the wall, so he's able to stay alive. Burning a lot of summoners, though, coming up on a big objective, like you said, the Baron. So, I mean, Miyamo, we were looking at him to really be the playmaker on this craze, and again, he had some good advantages, but falling a little bit flat towards the mid game here.
Yeah, and I think part of that is also compositional here, because Miami University's team wants to team fight, and they haven't been able to team fight. Bot side is just two top laners and Pill can't catch up. They'll be fine. Yeah, so they want a team fight, but the problem, these aren't team fights. They've been messy fights like this one.
Yep, Klee just gets blown up, and that's going to be support for support, as Mark Boots actually has his passive popped in that side, and going to have to run away as he's looking a little bit sketchy. Wards are being cleared out as, again, these teams are battling for vision. IBGen might be in the wrong spot. Mark Boots wants it, goes over the wall, throws out the chains, but misses. Feels bad. LeBlanc doesn't get the assassinate kill like she wanted, but still very, very close, as we see everyone standing on a knife's edge, having that anxious moment of, I could die at any moment.
And you have to remember, on the side of Miami University, they're playing into a double assassin comp right here. You've got Elise LeBlanc. We talked a little bit about their strength in lane, that they can pop anybody. Well, guess what? The Elise is so far hit. Mark Boots 2-0-1 as well, has picked up the Luden's Echo here. 5 stacks in the Darksteel as well. Is doing quite nicely for himself. So both of them can pop anybody who walks in the jungle. So vision now becomes the key to this particular game for both teams, because while your assassins can pop people, they are fairly squishy as well, so they need to make sure they don't get caught out. And after that bit of a lull here, the dragon will be coming up in a minute, and you can now start seeing that both teams prioritizing a little bit in trying to set up for this Cloud Drake. It is so point for Mad City. Their priority on the objective is paying dividends here, because they can choose, do they go for Baron or do they go for Dragon? Either way, Miami University, has to answer them on either side.
And this is pretty much deja vu to game number one. Yes, Mad City were up, but Miami University Ohio were already positioning always at this fourth dragon, kind of situation, right? They clear out the vision, they properly set up. They set up at least 45 seconds ahead and just making sure, but
Baron.
This time Mad City call it. They say, all right, Baron is on the map. You want to go bot? We'll change it up. Baron down to just about 3k health. They're burning it down extremely quickly, and they get it. They get a free Baron.
Yeah, that was beautiful, but fight's breaking up.
And that's going to be Miyamo flashing directly into the arrow. He is able to get away, but that's going to be a follow-up. Lucid able to claim 1 kill. Impaled on the backline, able to take the showstopper, but it only lands onto one. Troy getting away as well. And that's the Featherstorm claiming the kills. That's going to be a Shockwave pulling Digital Stain backwards, but he is fairly strong. Doesn't get the follow-up. Mark Boots ready for the cleanup, though. Big chain combo means he's able to take that kill. Mark Boots diving into the bush. 1Q does not make it happen, though, but Troy on the wrong side of the map. Oh, big QE. One more throws it, though, and he's able to pick up the ace. Messy after fight of the Baron, but the Dragon is going to be on the map as well. And massive global win for Mad City.
Was it an unofficial Quadra, I believe, for Mark Boots? He got the triple right off the bat, and I think Troy took a while, so didn't count as a Quadra, but I think that was an unofficial Quadra for Mark Boots. They're absolutely massive. The double assassin, both the assassins survive, and you are not safe as long as Flower Kitty and Mark Boots are on the map here. That was absolutely disgusting. And so one thing that we didn't get to see there was how they set up that Baron play. They sent Impale down to the bot side. They drop the ward. They clear out the vision of the Dragon. It looks like they're going for the soul. And you can see that on the side of Miami University, they were setting up to try and push down to the Dragon. They had no clue Baron was being taken until it was gone. So beautiful macro play from Mad City. And like I said, when you focus that hard on Dragons, you accelerate the pace of the game. You now have the option of Baron or Soul. The enemy team has to respond. And because they cleared vision on both sides, Impale clearing that teleporting top, they had no clue. Beautiful play. They get both and an ace to boot.
Yeah. Such a messy fight, but again, early advantages have won them the game. And again, this double magi is doing so much work, I feel. Again, this is like a Mark Boots and Warrior Kitty special, or a Flower Kitty special. As they are sitting on so much AP, they don't need the Rabadons. They say, all right, we'll just fight it out. Mark Boots closing around the side, though. Keep in mind, though, they don't have Impaled.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit risky here. Assassins are all great and good when you're trying to catch people out, but when you're trying to siege, they don't do quite as much here. And down bot, Impale just desperately trying to ram that wave into the bot side here, but he actually doesn't have the Baron buff. It's only on the 2 assassins, so his push not going to be quite as effective here, and they're going to try and siege up mid. It's kind of dicey.
Ooh, big damage going down once again. Mark Boots just playing that quick artillery, as we do see a 3-man taunt going in. Cleanse being popped. Cleave is gonna fall. No, that's actually gonna be Troy getting digital staying with the arrows, and this might be Mad City biting off more than they can chew. They are getting cut down. They're getting absolutely destroyed as the combo of IB, Gen, and Cleave pop off with the damage here.
And that was great juggling there on the aggro, but we ain't done yet.
Yep, they're diving once again, and Mark Boots finally getting a good damage, but that's going to be the Featherstorm rooting everyone in place. They might get one, but they're going to fall some more. Health bars all below 25%. Troy jumping forward, getting tagged by the Leandres, and Mark Boots says, nope, get off the rest of my team. You guys aren't going to find any more kills.
And that was a scary one. Mad City not wanting to let off the gas pedal at all. They lose 2, and what do? They immediately pick a fight in the bot lane there. Almost counterintuitive. They're looking for one more.
Yeah, Mark Boots making sure that Troy, with that Orianna, the shielding plus the Saracen Braids, trying to get as many actives as he can. And this LeBlanc is doing work. 602, we weren't really talking about it, silently becoming an absolute monster on the map.
Yeah, like you said, the Magi is 23 stacks already. Flower Kitty as well on the 25 stacks. And Mark Boots has just been threatening with the flanks amazingly all game here. And every time he just shows up on the side, it forces Miami University to have to play on the back foot. They've got no true tank either, so they have to be super, super careful. Right now, you see the Death Zans come out from Lucent. He's probably the tankiest member on the team, and that's not ideal here.
Yeah, not the best option to have, as mid lane is still pressured. Looking at the itemization scale, we have 2 to 2.5 on pretty much everyone on the side of Miami University, Ohio. On the other, we do have 2.5 to 3, 3.5, I think, is the highest. No, 3 items is for mid and jungle, so Mark Boots and and Flower Kitty. So these guys are really hoping to make that impact and close out this game as quickly as possible. Top lane being pressured, so they're going to a 3-1-1 and hoping that is going to help them out with the Baron in the top side.
And one thing we kind of haven't really seen come out of Miami University too much is the huge wombo combo. So far, it hasn't really been landing quite right. So I think that's basically their Hail Mary play right here, is look for that wombo combo. You've got the team for it here, and you basically need to get it off. So if they can get it off, I think they can continue to extend the game and look to hopefully kind of scale a little bit. Elise will eventually fall off. I mean, she's 12-2-7. It looks bad right now, but it can happen.
Yep, that's going to be a big fight pop-off. That's going to be the Shockwave landing in the backside. They found the combo that they needed. They take out 2 immediately. That's big damage going down. Elise and Ashe falling. They finally pick off one of the most important members, plus the ADC, as sad as I like to say that, who is now 0-4-12. But still, that combination is exactly what they were looking for. They stave off another inhibitor going down. However, the tower did go down instead.
And we take those. They threw the Hail Mary and it came through for them. And that's actually doubly important because first of all, you get the bounty from taking down Flower Kitty, but more importantly, you cut his stacks there. He went from 25 stacks to 15 stacks, and so that's actually pretty big for them. It makes their next fight a little easier for themselves. So Troy, absolutely huge shockwave, and both players have been great with their shockwaves here.
Yeah, and they realize they have to make this work. That's going to be a nice stun into Showstopper as Impale jumps all the way out. The Hero's Entrance doesn't happen, and that's going to be another shutdown by Mayamo. They realize they have to stagger the death timers as quickly as possible because now the Elder Dragon is coming up here, coming up just in time for the squad of Miami University, Ohio to mount a courageous comeback.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they need to do. We are seeing the potential, well, not exactly backdoor, but they're going for the inhibitors here. And it's kind of risky because Elder Drake is on the table, like you said. So the fact that they're going for the inhibs is a little risky. Miami now facing the tough decision. Do they burn this down or do they watch as their base falls apart here?
I don't think they have a choice. Inhibitors are already down. They have to go for this Elder to make it worth it. But now they're getting collapsed. Look at Lucent. He's nowhere near. He's going to have to teleport in. That's going to go into the Galio. Galio gets the taunt off. Arrow coming from long range. Lands onto a priority member. They found Oriana, but I don't think that's going to happen. No, that was actually Zai. I'm so sorry. In goes the backline. Mayamo gets the smite up. He's going to stay alive for a little bit longer, but he gets the pull in as well. Shockwave only lands on one, and the fight is won by mAAd City as the health bars are depleting very quickly. Redemption keeping everyone alive. Mark Boots teleports right back with the distortion. He is living on a prayer and a hope right here, but IBGen is ready to turn that into mincemeat. Cocoon does land, and that is going to be Flower Kitty cutting down the Lovers duo in the bottom side, and that's going to be Digital Storm as well, claim to kill on the end. And would you know it, after taking 2 inhibitors, after collapsing on the back 4 for 1, possibly going to be 5 for 1, mAAd City have stuffed the comeback. They say not a chance in the world. We are closing this out 2-0.
Yep, they get the soul, and I think I've got a bit of whiplash here. So we're going to finish that one off. Impaled, living up to his name, impaling Troy there, patting his KDA. And me, Yamo, my friend, you don't want to be there. You're just going to be another padding for their KDA. And mAAd City coming in huge in week 1 here. Absolutely dominant series. Miami University as well looking incredibly scrappy despite their loss.
Yeah, and taking a look at mAAd City first, we have to talk about this jungle pressure. Karthus game number 1 for Flower Kitty, going ham, getting the early dragon, getting the ganks off, and then in game number 2, Elise, a champion that we were a little bit worried after they went down 6-3 in the early stages, coming out 14-3-7, an assassin spider the likes of Australia has never seen before. You got to be worried about it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that Elise game was incredibly clean. When a team builds 2 Magis, you know that they felt hella confident. And mAAd City, I mean, that's absolutely disgusting. And one person I feel like kind of got underrepresented was Impaled there. He had some amazing showstoppers to just initiate fights or just to break up fights. A lot of the fights here were very like start, stop, start, stop. And I think that played a lot into why Miami University couldn't get their combination off, because it felt like they were always on the back foot. The fight was always fragmented. They come in the front and all of a sudden your assassin split on either side. You've got Impaled running with the showstopper. And every time he showstopper there, it really did put a full stop on the fight temporarily. And that was just absolutely massive from Impaled as well.
Yeah, but again, the score line of 2-0 really doesn't do justice to the Miami squad as well, right? These games were anything but super clean. These guys fought back from the brink of death multiple times. Game number 1, right, with a couple Dragon Steals, propping up amazing team fights. And again, in game number 2, finding some of those points, the base defenses from the squad. I mean, these guys know where to go and definitely have that, the proactive macro tendencies. It just seems like they need to be able to clean up their micro to be able to execute properly.
Yep, 100%. It came down a lot to just the little nitty gritty details there. And as you said, a lot of these fights were balanced on the edge of a knife. And the problem is just the smallest mistake kind of costs you a little bit. I think for Miami, their picks and bans, their draft was super clean. Their
Mhm,
focus on macro, though, Mad City just outstripped them both games. They had a stranglehold on those Dragons. So Mad City definitely playing that. I think Miami needs to work a little bit on their in-game cohesion as well. Because game
mhm.
one, they picked the Taric, and we saw the Cosmic Radiance kept coming down a little bit late, just a little, but it matters in those fights. Game two as well, you pick a big Wombo combo team. Well, the most important thing for a big Wombo combo team is to engage and to get your skills off together. We didn't really get to see that. So I think maybe a little bit of the cohesion, the cooperation of the team could use a little bit of work. They are a fairly young team, so definitely can look to see them improve very quickly because young teams often have a lot of space to grow in a very short span of time.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just week number one, right? It's just week one. You always have that chance to bounce back. These teams have so much time to grow, to experience, and to be able to strategize in their head. So we'll have to wait, excuse me, and see what comes of it. Now, Mad City taking it 2-0. Gotta ask you, we always love to finish with it. Just your thoughts. Who do you think deserves the MVP of the series and why?
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward for me here. It's got to be Flower Kitty, man. The man was an absolute monster in both these series. The Karthus playing Karthus almost like an early game champion, I think that deserves an award. And game two, he started a bit slow, like you said, 3-6, I think, or 4-6. They were down in the beginning, but he came back huge. 0 to 25 stacks in about 2 or 3 minutes. That to me is just incredible.
Yeah, all right. Well, there you go. Flower Kitty, our MVP of this series here tonight, as Mad City claim victory 2-0 over Miami University, Ohio. Now, with that, that concludes our Upsurge Contenders League broadcast here tonight, but we do have more Upsurge action tomorrow in the UML, as we do have the two fantastic teams of CCG Rose Quartz and Goth Boy Click making their appearance on the Rift. So you don't want to miss that. That will be at 8 p.m. EST here at Upsurge on Twitch. Now, from all of us here at the broadcast desk, my name is Orbital. I was joined here by Random Minion Caster with Nightclaw on the production. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a fantastic night.